together.
It's all mostly a thing. Are we live yet?
On my screen, it still says hosting Zero Gravity Theater.
Raven, get out of here! Oh, there we go. Hey, we're live.
Haha.
Ah, we did it, like professionals would do.
Mission accomplished.
Yes. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Good Gaming with Bad People, where everything's made up and the points don't matter.
Yep.
We're here.
That is a show that was a tagline that was made up only for this show and was never used for any other show ever.
Yep. Totally original. Do not steal.
Yep.
Do not listen to anything Drew Carey says. He's just trying to sell you stuff on the Showcase Showdown.
As he does.
As he does. But anyway, welcome to episode 2872 of OK Podcast with Bad People.
Yep.
Which, according to the internet, after a 3-second Google, is the jerkiest number. And we'll be talking about Steve Martin's The Jerk and our biggest nerd confessions. And spoilers, Robert has a big one.
I do, yeah.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
shit. Oh, we're back?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep.
I'm glad no one's watching. But, yeah, before we go, Robert, did you have something special?
I do, yeah. I have a deep dive for us today. This one's just a pure fun one.
All right.
I
hated all those part work ones.
Yeah. Well, I had this idea when I heard about a food, which is simultaneously one of the most horrifying things I've ever heard of, but also there's something about it that's really funny. So I had the idea it would be fun to do a deep dive where I just research and then talk about some really weird foods that exist or existed at some point in history.
Before we get into it, how many of these entries are going to be about weird gelatin casseroles?
None.
Yes.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Were you worried what were you worried about?
I'm just full of Arby's right now. That's our plug for our sponsor today. And I just know there's horrific, you put an entire, salmon into gelatin, and then you put fruit in it, and then you serve it to people because you pretend you like them.
Yeah.
Big in the 60s and 70s, and that's when this movie came out, so I just wasn't sure what my tummy was going to be walking into.
Oh, man, yeah. Well, so, because for this one, I feel like it'll be a little bit more fun to do the quiz, and then, I can talk about some of the items on the quiz that are real.
Sounds good.
So, yeah. Our first section is on some odd canned foods. So I've got a list of 5 canned foods, 4 of which are real, and 1 of which is one that I made up.
Okay.
And you know the rest from there.
I do.
So,
yes, and
is the fake one A, Burnham and Morrill canned brown bread?
That's a thing.
B, Sweet Sue canned whole chicken?
There is canned whole chicken.
C, Katinda Group canned cheeseburger? D, Dosenkuchen canned cake? Or E, Candwich canned PB&J?
The cheeseburger, because I know all the other ones are real.
Oh, did you say one and I didn't hear
Yes, I said cheeseburger.
I can't hear you again.
Oh no! Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Cheeseburger.
Nope, it's just real.
Okay. Then which one are you saying is fake? Because
the Dosenkuchen. If there is a canned cake out there, I did not find it in my research. But
yes, there is definitely canned cake.
Exist. All right, well.
Okay, I didn't know if
question. We'll call this one a wash.
Yay! Let me look it up.
Yeah, I made up the name Dosenkuchen by just translating canned cake into German.
Yep. Double chocolate truffle canned cake. I just found like 8 different stores that sell canned cake, Robert. Come on!
All right. Okay.
That
So,
actually looks really fucking
our
good.
yeah, I would eat canned cake.
It's
Um,
soaking in cognac. Sorry.
yeah. Our next category is odd beverages that you might encounter
I'll probably
if you
get
were
this one
looking at
wrong.
all the wrong places.
Oh no.
So, I have 4 here. 3 are real, 1. So, is the fake one A, sour toe cocktail, B, Fancy Dave's liquid caviar, C, Mamma Mia pizza beer, or D, Placenta 10,000?
Mm, you almost chuckled at Placenta 10,000, so I feel like that's a real one, or it's a fake one that you're just laughing at your own jokes. These all sound real and terrible, and I hate that I hate that 75% of these answers are real. Um, like Mamma Mia pizza beer just sounds like something you'd buy at like a really weird like knockoff dollar store. Like Simoleon Shack, Mamma Mia pizza beer. It's not refrigerated. It's just like there's just loose bottles in a corner. Sour toe cocktail sounds real. What was the second one?
Fancy Dave's liquid caviar.
That also sounds real, but the name is funny. Like the Fancy Dave's. I guess I'll go with Fancy Dave's liquid caviar.
Oh, you got it right.
Yay!
Man. Yeah. So the pizza beer is considered the world's first culinary beer.
Oh.
It was invented in 2006, and it's a blend of tomatoes, garlic, and herbs that were like included in the brewing process. And people claim that the taste is genuinely similar to pizza.
Like, what does culinary beer mean?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's just a thing that they said with it.
Fair enough.
I guess maybe like it's a beer that really tastes like a food or something. I don't know. So Placenta 10,000 is a Japanese soda made from pig placenta.
Yep.
I guess there's like a belief around the world that placenta has regenerative properties. But supposedly the actual soda tastes like fresh peaches. So,
because I know placenta is recommended to be eaten like after you give birth, because it does hold a lot of nutrients that the baby can't process. So like horse placenta goes for a lot of money.
yeah.
So
the most horrifying real one though is sour toe cocktail.
Oh man.
Which is not one specific, a series of different drinks served at the Sourdough Cocktail Club in Dawson, which is in the Yukon Territory, which I believe is in Canada.
Yes, but this is not something we'll be able to make Will drink on screen.
You will not.
Damn it.
The thing that makes sourdough cocktails unique is that there's an actual human toe in that has been drained of fluids and pickled. You don't drink the toe, but you are supposed to let it touch your lips while you drink the drink. There used to be a fine of $500 for drinking the toe, but they increased it to $2,500 when someone deliberately drank the toe in a shot in 2013. And I guess they get the toes through donations.
Wait, so like it's just a loose, like when you say drink, you mean like they swallowed the toe out of the drink?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, I thought for a second, because the way you're wording, I'm like, wait, they're drinking toe? But I get it, okay. Okay, please tell me you looked up why they do, like what's the point of the toe?
So all that I found out was that sometime in the 70s, whoever started this club had like found a brewing liquor that had a human toe in it, and I guess he just thought like, that's my gimmick.
Well, guess what's going to be our new background?
Every article that I found on it had that exact same thing where people were like, no one knows why he thought this was a good idea, but
All right. There we go.
All right. So, our next category is some what I'm calling historical oddities. These are things that you probably couldn't find today unless you went to like a specialty person to have it made. So I've got 4 real ones again, and then one that I made up. And I will give you a brief description of what the dish is along with its name. Sweet. Oh, hello? You there?
Hi, I'm still here. I'm listening.
Okay. All right. So we've got
Do you have
A.
the stream pulled up by any chance?
Oh, God. Oh, no. I only had like chat along this. That's good, though, because that'll really keep if anyone clicks on this, they're going to be like, yeah, I want to stick around and see what this is all about.
They do.
Yeah, that's it. That's what they look. I saw that picture in the articles. It's pretty gnarly.
As I saw the screens changing. Well, welcome, Mr. Perp, to Toe Talk.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That's a human toe cocktail.
Oh, man. So some of the dishes on our next category might be even more horrifying, though. I don't know.
Oh, boy.
Probably not, but... All right. So we got 4 real ones and one that I made up. So we have A, the roti sans puree, which translates to roast without equal, which is a dish that involves stuffing 17 birds into one another.
I'm almost positive I know that's a real thing.
B, bacon wrapped, bacon wrapped, bacon wrapped bacon, which is bacon wrapped in 3 other layers of bacon. C, dorm, which would be stuffed with bits of pork, pepper, fennel juice, broth, and nuts. And dormouse is like a mouse that's the size of a rat.
Mm-hmm.
D, cockentrice, a Tudor dish which involved sewing together the front half of a pig and the back half of a chicken. Or toast sandwich, which is a piece of buttered toast with salt and pepper between 2 slices of bread.
Did you say the toast sandwich?
That was E, yeah.
Okay. I've seen that's in a recipe book, so I know that is also real. I'm positive the first and last ones are real.
Okay.
So it's what was B?
The bacon one.
That sounds real. Like it sounds like something would do, but it's also goofy enough that and then what was and then there's the one where it was the 2 things sewed together. What was the other one?
The cockentrice and then dormouse.
Dormouse. I'm gonna say the bacon one's fake.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. Oh man, you're doing good tonight.
Yep, it's the power of this toe juice.
Yeah.
Those items sound like my school's lunch. Where did you go to school?
Oh man, the cockentrice is like kind of a funny one. It's a dish that was almost more of a showpiece. I mean, like people ate it, but it was sort of made as a showpiece.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a companion piece that was sometimes served with called the helm cock, which would be a chicken dressed as a knight, and then it was like riding on top of a pig.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. The dormouse was eaten by the Romans.
Oh.
And apparently people would kind of just like raise them in special pots where they fattened them up. But one particularly rich person who really loved them, Titus Pompeius, made a 4 square mile enclosure on his estate where his dormice would roam before being eaten. The serving of dormice, though, was banned in 115 BC by the consul Marcus Aemilius Scaurus, along with the serving of mollusks and exotic birds. But people kind of just kept making dormouse anyways.
So I can get that in there. There we go.
All right. So we're on to finale. This finale is all about one particular food. This is the food that I heard about that gave me the idea for this deep dive. It's a dish called ortolan. It's illegal almost everywhere. It's a baby bird of a species called ortolan, which is endangered. The bird is captured, fattened, and then drowned in Armagnac brandy. After dying, it's cooked, plucked, and served. And you eat it in a single bite. But there's
I've
one
heard of this.
Okay.
I know what this is. I know exactly what this is. You have to wear the thing on your head.
Oh man! All right. Well, I guess I'll just give you the quiz. Yeah.
Well,
you're supposed to.
I was like, I'll tell them about it.
All right. So, I mean, do you want me to just
Yep.
skip the answer? Yep. So the people who eat ortolan are supposed to cover their head with a sheet so that God can't see what they're doing.
Yep. In the chat, if you guys want a picture of ortolan to be the background for a little bit, let me know.
Oh man, I want to know what the signature dish called Full Force is.
That sounds aggressive. Will, you don't want to see a delicious baby bird floating in brandy? Fair enough. Oh no, it's a contest. I'll just let people Google it for right now. It is pretty distressing.
Oh man, but yeah, so that's our deep dive.
It's a good one.
Yeah, I thought it would be a fun topic.
That's a lot of dead baby birds. Oh, these guys are deep frying them. All right, so we'll move from a story about. Can you put a link? I can just spell the word for you, and then you can Google it.
Ortolan.
And then just click images.
And then that's your life.
And then you'll know. But we're going to go to talking about a movie that is oddly enough not an autobiography about me, despite the title. We are going to...
Oh, you're not a jerk.
Thank you. 1979's Steve Martin film, The Jerk, which, honestly, I think is probably my favorite Steve Martin movie.
Yeah, I would agree.
You agree that it's my favorite?
Just my favorite comedy movie.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. I mean, maybe there would be like something. I mean, like, I'm not a big comedy person. But this movie does it for me. So, like, maybe you could list another comedy and I'd be like, okay, yeah, I wasn't thinking about that one. That one is good. But I really love this movie.
This one was very good. I do think I like the movie Blazing Saddles a little bit more.
It's been a long time since I saw Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, I really want to. Will asked like weeks ago, like, oh man, you guys should do that for the podcast because he hasn't seen it yet, and he's just like, we can watch it. And I'm like, all right.
That would be fun.
But that and then Airplane is also really good. This movie reminded me actually a lot of Airplane because
there were like two movies that I was comparing this to in my head a lot, and that was one of them.
Just the visual comedy in this movie is nuts.
Yeah. Well, the visual comedy, and there's like a lot of comedy that's based on the fact that many words have two meanings.
Mm-hmm.
Or just like people misunderstanding the context of a word.
If you just look up the bird, that's just a bird, but if you hit images, you should see some pictures of baby birds being cooked. This is a weird thing. But yeah, so anyway, the movie, for those who haven't seen it, really brief overview is the movie starts and you're meeting Steve Martin's character. Is it Navin Johnson?
Yeah, Navin Johnson.
At the end of the story would be, and he's recounting his life story up until that point for the viewer of how he was a white kid who was adopted by a black family, and he had no ability to have rhythm and music, and he hears
But
Like,
he also didn't know that he was adopted.
he didn't know he was adopted, which I think that scene has my favorite, like, word joke in the whole movie when they're like, "You're adopted," and he's like, "So I'm gonna stay this color?" And he just starts crying. That, oh man. But he ends up moving to Los Angeles after hearing like show tunes on the radio, very white people music. And he ends up bumbling his way into being a millionaire and finding the love of his life over a series of very fortunate events. And then ends up losing it all, seemingly.
Indeed.
But it's just a weird movie that just has some of the most goofy visuals. But yeah. So it's neither of us our first time seeing this movie, so we don't really have a first impressions moment for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the question I want to ask you, like the thing, but do you think this movie could be made today?
I don't know. There's definitely like some of the racial comedy I don't think would fly if you made it today. Like, I don't think it's hateful. Like, the root of the joke, even with most of the racial, has more to do with Steve Martin's character being a goofball than anything else. But at the same time, like, there are definitely play types in a couple, especially of the early scenes. But also, like, the way that the jokes work in this movie feels kind of different to me from the way that most of the comedy that we make today feels.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like it's kind of... the things in this movie that are so funny are kind of timeless in a way.
Yes.
So, like, I feel like you could make at least most of this movie, or a movie that's similar to this today. You would maybe change a couple things, but I just don't know if someone would make this movie in the current environment, because like the structure of it and the way that the jokes are constructed isn't in keeping with a modern comedic sensibility, even though I find it really funny and think it still holds up really well.
Because yeah, like I feel the same ways. Like I think the biggest hot button issue would be like the race topic,
Yeah.
but I don't think any of the racist humor that's also being said, disclaimer, is the perspective of two cisgen white males. So take it for what you will. Like none of it came from malice, as far as I could see. It was just like cultural differences. The only joke to me that I could see not landing well today, which I'll admit still made me laugh, was like near the end when he's talking to those like housing developer scumbag people.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we could just put Mater in the background of any discussion, Mr. Perp, if you want. Do you just want us to put a picture of Mater back there? Like right now? But
yeah, do that.
Yeah. Is when they're like, we're gonna keep, and they use the N-word, the derogatory, like, we're gonna keep them people out of here, and then Steve Martin goes, "I am," and he uses the word again, and then turns into Bruce Lee and kicks the shit out of them.
Yeah.
That was the only joke to me that when it hit, like, my weird modern nerves like clinked, and I went, "Oh, hey, you can't say that.
You can't say that word." Yeah.
But
yeah, that, I mean, like, I don't know that you couldn't do that today, but it definitely would hit a lot of people the wrong way. Like, I think it's, again, like we were saying earlier, it doesn't feel to me like the racial jokes in the movie are coming from a place of malice, and I feel like that's pretty, and especially like the construction of that joke is that Steve Martin's character really, like, he grew up thinking that he was a black person and completely associates his identity with that.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, what he's saying to him is, I guess, at least emotionally true to him. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I don't. I feel you, dog. Like
yeah,
even in that joke, at that time I don't think they were trying to be offensive.
Yeah,
because it was just a weird joke that I'm like, oh, they'd have to change it.
Well, yeah, and the construction of the joke is built around seeing those housing developers as assholes too, because they're being racist, so they are assholes.
Yes. The one I'm not sure how to construct this conversation around this movie because there are just so many jokes in it. I guess that'll be the other thing to talk about our favorite jokes.
Yeah.
But this movie is special to me because it was one of the first and only movies, but yes, Mater does have horrific teeth. That my dad, who's not really big into like TV and stuff like that, he was like, "Oh man, we should watch this." And I watched it with my dad, and he was laughing, and it was great. But when I watched it, I think I was like 15, so like 28 years ago, basically. And I was under the impression that by the end of the movie, he had lost all of it. Like, he loses everything.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He just walks out of his house. So I was just like, wait a minute. He shouldn't be poor. He owns that whole house, which is still... The other thing that doesn't make any sense, which bothered me knowing what I know about law, is... Nice. Is it any good, Green Eggs and Ham? But, is how class action lawsuits is he would not be personally be responsible for that lawsuit. It would be the company. Yeah. That guy would be fucked. So he wouldn't have lost any of his money.
That's probably there just to set up the joke where for some reason he is personally writing out each of the checks for like $1 and some cents.
$1.09. But that was something I like. My adult brain couldn't get past that because I'm just, especially nowadays, there's so many class action lawsuits. Also, I think the joke of I'll get it in a second is that like I know enough about them that I was like, this is ridiculous and doesn't make sense. Like it's not comedic in a sense where it's like they spun it. It's like no, this is like not how things work. But something I don't think would fly today with as much like stuff as there is the character who just starts shooting at Naven when he looks him up in the phone book.
Yeah. I mean, that's like... I'm sure the shooters back in that era, but it wasn't the same kind of like societal phenomenon that it has become today. And I guess also people back when this movie was made weren't thinking about the way that giving mass shooters attention tends to breed more mass shooters. So like it was a lot easier to just like make that character as a joke. But I don't know, like I feel like there's an argument for saying that taking something like that and turning it into a joke instead of like mystifying it and making it something big and terrifying maybe like reduces the... I don't know where I'm going, but
I just think studio wise, I think that would be a thing that most big studios would be like, no, let's not put that in there. We don't want to risk anything because people be like, people died. This isn't fucking funny. Because no one in that scene is panicked like while it's happening,
or at least they're only kind of like
annoyed,
jokey, panicked.
Like because
Steve Martin's kind of panicking a little in that scene.
I forgot. I was thinking about the guy who owns the gas station because he like clearly sees the shooter and he's like, "Hey kid, he's trying to shoot you. You gotta take cover. What are you doing?"
We don't have defective cans. We got a defective person.
Yeah. Oh man, switching to Paul Blart Mall Cop. I don't know if you're going uphill or downhill. But I don't know. Just my brain is just awash with so many jokes. Which like being a white person watching this movie made me chuckle with all of like the shots at white people things. Like
Yeah.
the whitest dinner that they give to him as his birthday gift. That made me laugh so hard because from personal experience, for like 3 years I went to school in Van Dyne Elementary in Stillwater. Not Stillwater, in Syracuse University, and I was like one of 3 white kids. And I had friends who would tease me because I love tuna and I make tuna mayonnaise. So they were like, "Oh, that's white kid's sandwich." And then when he had that, a Tab soda, which I believe I remember seeing like almost all the commercials for Tab Cola when they started coming out were only white people in them. Like that was kind of like a mini controversy, if I remember correctly. And then Twinkies, and he just like starts crying because it's so beautiful that he gets to have all that. And I was just like, oh man.
Yeah.
And then his joke was like, "Hey, you want to come sing the blues?" And he's like, "I don't know why, but that music always makes me sad." I was just like, ah. I've just known so many devastatingly Caucasian people that just like I feel like there are people out there who would like that would be an answer they would give.
Yeah.
Do they still make Tab soda?
I have no. I've never even like. I think this movie is the only place I've ever heard about Tab soda before. So yeah, I don't know.
Have you seen Back to the Future?
Yeah, it's been a very long time, but yes.
Then you're a liar. I know they made Tab up until the 90s because I know I've had Tab because it was like the first like big marketed Diet Cola. Sorry, everyone.
Huh.
So that's I said to blow my nose. So, yeah. So I've had one, but I thought those were not sold anymore. Oh, they sell it at Disneyland? That's weird. I've
weird.
Never been to Disneyland or Disney World.
Me too.
That's what we'll do then. We'll have a Twitch IRL from GGWBP at Disneyland.
Well, I know they really love it when people are running around with cameras at Disneyland. So
do they not?
I'm sure we'll go great. I don't think so.
Oh,
but there is. I know there's a movie where like the whole movie was secretly filmed in Disneyland. I don't remember the name of it, but that is a thing.
Oh, okay then. I just know people hate it when, like, you know, you get on the road. This podcast is really just about nothing today. You know how they like, take your picture like when you're on a roller coaster, and then you can buy it for like $20. Yeah. Is using your phone to take a picture of that picture. Mm-hmm. They hate it when you do that. Don't do that; they'll try to throw you out.
All right, I looked it up. The movie's called Escape from Tomorrow. Oh. It's a 2013. What?
Sorry, you just broke up completely. You went the movie, and then it all went away.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a 2013 movie called Escape from Tomorrow.
Huh.
It's an independent science fantasy horror film.
What? About Disneyland?
It's, let's see. Tells the story of an unemployed father having increasingly bizarre experiences and disturbing visions on the last day of a family vacation at the Walt Disney Resort.
Oh, okay. So it's not like about Disneyland or Disney, whatever.
It just is happening in Disney, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't know if it was like a documentary about the horrors of Disney, like
oh no,
that the It's a Small World ride is just a chorus of children who were left by their parents and are forced to work in the tunnel for Dole Whip. But, did you? What were?
But yeah, like sorry. I get what you were saying though about like this movie being kind of hard to describe. Like, I watched this movie twice, and the second time was with your roommate, Evan. Mm-hmm. And he kept saying, like, does this movie even have a plot? I mean, he was, like, enjoying it. We were all laughing, but he was like, I don't understand what the plot of this movie is. And, like, I definitely think there's a plot, but at the same time, it is kind of just joke, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like, I don't know, like that structurally makes it weird to try and describe that.
Yeah, I definitely feel this is a platform for comedy more than like deep storytelling, because I don't think at any point any of the characters develop.
Yeah.
Everyone just is what they are through the whole movie. Sorry, Mr. Perp, I had to change it back, just in case people do strike this creatively. Because they're like, I'm talking about cars. But that's fine. If this one gets struck, only one other person watches this. But, yeah, like, and if that's what the movie's trying to do, it's just trying to be funny.
Mm-hmm.
This is entertainment. I don't know if I could call this movie art. But that would be the weird conversation to have arguments about. But I think it fully deserves to exist because it is a form of entertainment, and this was highly entertaining. It has been a long time since I've been this entertained by something. But like, you said something earlier, and I've been trying to quantify it, where you said this movie feels like it was written differently than how we write comedies today. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a modern comedy movie that was like a big deal.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I guess like I said, I don't watch too many modern comedies, but I feel like a lot of modern comedies, you'd always have like some sort of character arc that's thrown in there. And like, even if you're laughing most of the time and there's jokes most of the time, there's also going to be like at least one or two moments where you're supposed to feel sad or something, you know? But like this movie, even though it has moments that could have been played in that way, like you're just laughing the whole time. Like, I feel like if you may, for example, the scene in which Marie leaves Naven, like she writes him the note and then leaves it, would have been like played in a way where you kind of feel sorry and sad for Naven, and you're kind of living in how down he's feeling a little bit. But in The Jerk, like he's such a doofus, he doesn't even realize that he's been left.
Yeah, like it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Will laughed pretty hard at that scene where he comes out of the bath and he's covering himself with the dog, and then he picks up the smaller dog to cover his butt. But yeah, like I guess the last really big, you should check out my Twitch channel's description. Okay, well, give it a look. Wait, how do you look at descriptions for channels? I actually have never done that.
I don't know.
But probably like the 40-year-old virgin was the last one that felt like it was a big comedy that like did well, and I don't know, I'm probably wrong. But that one had like the arc of the whole idea of the main character losing his virginity and like having a sexual experience and growing as like a father figure and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely moments where it's serious. But like a lot of comedies that are just like garbage that you see advertised like multiple times a year, they also really, in the previews at least, oh, that's weird, I'm sorry your browser keeps crashing, sell themselves on shock value.
Yeah.
And not necessarily like oh, someone's dick's flipping around or something. It'll be something like someone comes crashing through a wall, or it's like it's very over the top, where so much of The Jerk is not over the top until it really goes over the top, but it's also not played over the top. Like, I don't know. The scene to me that felt the most, is there a new Star Wars coming out? Yes, there is. That felt the most ridiculous and out of place is near the end of the movie, and it's the execution of the maid by firing squad.
Yeah, well, that one and the scene right after the housing developers where he does like a karate fight on them is kind of over the top.
But and that one, and then the cat juggling was another one that was just completely ridiculous.
Yeah. But yeah, like so much more of this movie is just like you're laughing at the character being goofy. Like like a really good example is the scene where he's talking to his boss at the gas station, and then the truck comes in with the new phone books, and he gets super excited because his name is in the phone book.
That also, I was confused
And
by
now
that.
he's going to be so.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, why was he in the phone book? Because
I don't know. I
'Cause
mean,
he's-
to set up the joke.
I guess because like he's living at the gas station.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you can headcanon in that, like,
Oh man, that word coming back again.
that he got a phone at the gas station, or maybe he's allowed to just like have his name assigned to the gas station phone. I don't know how phone books worked in 1979.
Well, it meant if you were in it, someone was gonna come and try to kill you.
Yeah. It's your name in print.
That's all right, and then things start happening to you. Oh, and then the car pulling the church.
Yeah.
That was another big one. That's the thing, is all of it kind of blended together so well that none of it really feels in the moment super out of place because you've just been laughing the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, there, like, I was thinking about this earlier today, that it's a film where, like, sometimes the world around Naven is playing straight man to him,
Mhm.
but sometimes it's as goofy as, and like, it does a really good job of sort of seamlessly switching between those two modes so you don't even notice it most of the time.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to think of other big ones like Monty Python, Search for the Holy Grail. That's another one that's just goofness over the top all the time. Man, I want to watch that movie again.
You do or you don't?
I do.
Yeah.
I've forgotten like how good comedies can be when they're just comedies.
Yeah. Well, and like, there's something about a lot of the humor in this film that felt like oddly wholesome to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it's nice. Like, I mean, I guess it just felt like nice humor most of the time. Even if you're at Steve Martin, like, he's obviously enjoying playing a goofy guy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And just like, there's nothing in this movie that feels hateful. It's not trying to like be edgy, or like you said, it's not trying to shock you or anything. It's just being goofy. It's so good.
I think like the best example of that is his dog. Is that like the guy's like, don't call your dog Lifesaver, call him Shithead, and he's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then he calls his dog Shithead through the whole movie, but he's always like, come on, Shithead. Like it's like, 'cause
Yeah.
I think the thing that you've touched on with it being so wholesome is that part of it is you're seeing it through the lens of Naven, who has a very, in my opinion, like childlike innocence to him. Is he?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have the capacity to be mean or angry. Because even when he has like his one, I would say like the temper tantrum moment at the end when it's all falling apart and he's like, I don't need you, I don't need anything, and he just keeps picking stuff up. Like it's like, I don't need anything.
Yeah.
I'm personal. I need this. That I don't know. That it felt like he's just a tall child who can play the ukulele.
Well, and like a really great example of that is the relationship that he has with Patty, the motorcycle driver, where like she brings him back to her trailer where it's like pretty obvious she wants to have sex with him,
Mm-hmm.
but he like is so naive he doesn't even really know that that's a thing. And then the whole joke about his mother had told him that his special purpose.
Yeah, that
And so, like, when he gets hard with Patty, he's like, what's happening to my special purpose, you know? And then that leads to the bit where, like, after they have sex, he writes a letter home to his family saying, I found out what my special purpose is for. And he's talking about, I wish everyone could have been here. Because he's so oblivious, he doesn't even realize that there's kind of a taboo element to sex.
That letter also just had another great joke in it. It was like, I'll probably be sending you more money, because Patty promised me a blowjob. Like, and they just, the way they read it and just keep going, and only one character in the scene reacts to it was so good.
Yeah. Well, I felt like there were three characters. The grandma who was reading it seemed completely oblivious.
Mhm.
His brother was the one who was like having a hard time not cracking up, but his mom and dad give each other kind of a knowing look at one point in the letter reading.
I thought that too, like it does that, but then the dad is like, she must be a special girl. Like, he's happy for his son and not like weirded out.
Yeah.
Can you review Paul Bart Mall Cop? I don't know. I don't know how. Is Paul Blart a hot ticket item right now? But man, another great visual gag that I really liked when they're at just after he's rich, and he goes, and his wife's drunk and sad with knife throwing, and he just goes over to the 2 coolers of wine, and he just like pulls like the glass. Man, we've talked about a lot of stuff so far. We've talked about mass shootings and Mater. Man, today's just been
all over the board.
All of America living right here.
Yeah.
But
man, another scene that I really love is the scene where they go to dinner at the fancy restaurant. And first he gets mad at the waiter, or he like tells the waiter to bring them some fresh wine, something from this year.
I've seen that joke in a lot of things, so I wonder if this was like the first movie to do that. But yeah, I've seen that specific joke before, so I actually didn't think that one was that funny. I was like, ha.
Yeah.
But what happens after, I think, is much funnier.
Yeah, where he's angry about the snails on his girlfriend's plate.
I was confused by that. Like, I get he's dumb and she ordered escargot and he doesn't understand that was snails, but did she also not know it was snails?
Well, I got the impression from the scene that the waiter talked them into it. Because right after that, he says, bring me this other thing.
The melted cheese sandwiches.
Yeah.
Mater is a mass shooter. Oh, no. But if that part felt a little weird to me, because I kind of got the impression that of the two of them, Marie was supposed to be like a smarter person. So her, because to me she was never really played for being dumb that I can think of. So her weirdest thing is that she played the trumpet.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That was just kind of a little weird to me that she was like,
she has snails. Like a couple of moments that are kind of doofy, like after they see the TV report and all of his friends leave the disc, and she's saying, like, she says to him, I'm not afraid of losing all the money, I'm afraid of losing all the stuff.
Well, that is a good joke you brought up, because that's a old saying. I can't remember what it is, but it's a thing where it's money doesn't bring you happiness. It's like a nihilistic-y saying, because it's like having $5 doesn't do anything for you. It's the act of using that $5 to get a cheeseburger is what makes money important. So to me, that wasn't doofy. That was the thing. And she was like, she's like, no, you idiot. It's not the fact that the physical money is gone. It's meaning our buying potential is gone. But I still thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, she's really great in this.
Because wasn't that Bernadette Peters?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who apparently was dating Steve Martin at the time.
Oh. Because I'd heard that name a bunch.
Yeah. Like, so one thing that if you remember in the scene where they're having the date in Naven's trailer, and Naven, like, asks if he can touch her skin, and then, like, after that, he, like, licks her face. Apparently, the face licking was improvised. She was not expecting that, so her reaction is completely genuine.
There's a bunch of improvised stuff in that movie.
Yeah.
Which feels good. But Like the knife throwing scene really made me laugh. Not so much for the knife throwing, but just like the stupidity. It was like he's like, yeah, throw it at me, and she's like, put a balloon in your mouth? Do you have a balloon? And he's just like, no. And he's like pats him over. He's like, oh wait, I do. And he just has like a balloon that's already partially inflated, and I'm just like, why the fuck do you have that? Face licking. Man. It depends if it's with someone you love, Mr. Perp.
Indeed.
But
oh man,
that was good. I also really liked the kind of like poking at other trope stuff where he's like talking to his dog, like he's making it look like he has to make his dog leave. And he's like, I have to leave, and he's but he's like, hey, I just want you to know. And before he even finishes, the dog starts walking away, and he's like, no, come back. And then
and then the dog eventually like tries to run away, and he's like, wait.
He's like, okay, you changed my mind. You can come with me. And then he's like dragging the dog.
And dragging the dog along with him.
Oh, that was good.
Oh man.
Next week, do you just want to watch The Jerk again?
Kind of. Oh man. Okay, so here's a question, I guess about a goofy idea from the movie. Would you eat Capo pizza?
Is that not a real thing?
Is it? I don't know.
Because there's so many Cuppa whatever places especially in like California, that I
felt like it was a joke about the fact that there were so many Capo places, that it was like, how stupid can we get? How about Capo pizza? But I would genuinely love to try Capo pizza.
It does not seem like it is a real thing. Yeah, it just seems like there's a lot of recipes for making your own cup of pizza.
But yeah, I was curious, was that something you would want to eat?
Yeah, I'd give it a try for sure. I love pizza. I'd probably complain about it because I'm like, it's not as good as a New York slice.
It's true. I feel like I've never heard you eat a pizza without saying it's not as good as a New York slice.
Yeah, because just all of your guys' pizzas are shitty. Sorry.
Oh, man.
Boom, take that, all not New York slices. But yeah, I'm definitely a huge pizza snob jerk. And I feel that cup of pizza, I'd probably be like, yeah, it's fine. But I would definitely not be afraid of trying cup of pizza.
Yeah.
I just want to know like what it is, because I feel like it would just be like lasagna.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, what was the other stuff in this movie? I feel like the house that they were in is probably the worst mansion ever to exist.
So that mansion is the real, or was. And it's interesting that you say it's one of the worst mansions to ever exist. So this is something that I learned from the production notes.
Mm-hmm.
The mansion was an actual location called the Al Fassi Mansion. They picked it they had a lot of options to choose from for where to shoot, because almost all of the scenes that they shot were on location. They did not build a lot of sets. They picked the mansion for a couple reasons. One was that it had a large open interior that made it really easy to shoot in and allowed you to like see into other rooms. It also had that basement disco was a real thing that already, and they were like, this is so weird, we've got to use it and write it in. But that mansion no longer exists.
Wow.
The sheik who owned it had outraged his neighbors by installing plastic flowers in the garden and by painting brightly colored genitalia on the Italian marble statue. And the home was destroyed by an arsonist on New Year's Day in 1980 while neighbors shouted, "Burn, burn, burn." Kind of dark.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck. 'Cause that's the year after the movie came out. For as weird as the rooms were, my guess was that they weren't all in the same mansion, but I guess they were.
I mean, it could have. They certainly could have like changed some of the decor in them for the movie, but I got the impression that they were trying to shoot on a pretty low budget, and so that may very well have been just rooms that were in the mansion that they were like, "This is so fucking ridiculous. We've got to use it."
Because it was just like all like none of it matched. So it was all like a bright red billiard room, a weird pink lavender bathroom with a clamshell, and I was just like, the joke I had in my head was like, this seems like it was a mansion developed by someone who was on very intense psychohallucinogenics, and then I realized that this movie was in the 70s, so I was like, okay. Well, you have a good night, Mr. Perp. Thank you very much for stopping by, and I hope you have a good rest of your night.
Indeed.
But man, it's a movie that there's a lot to talk about, but then there's also not a lot to talk about because it's all just overlapping, going like, wasn't
because everything to talk about is just like remembering how the various jokes were.
Just by the end of it, we've just done every scene in the movie. Like, remember this? Remember this?
Yeah.
But yeah, because I don't really have any more big things to bring up. Like,
did you have a favorite scene or a favorite joke at least?
Yeah, like I think my favorite joke, just for like, especially how relevant it is now, was the whole "I'm gonna stay this color." That to me, I don't know, that just hit so many buttons of like him being stupid, but then also like the like irony of hating the idea of being white in America, because like when you're white, you're statistically and traditionally have like an advantage. So he's just like, this sucks that I'm white, and that made me laugh.
I mean, it's because he really identifies with his family, which is kind of a beautiful thing. But,
that's the other thing.
It's funny too. Yeah,
it was just a wholesome, funny thing. That to me, it felt like something a toddler would say.
Yeah,
like would be like, "Oh man, I'm gonna be a boy forever." Like that. That was just good. What about you? What was your favorite joke or scene?
My favorite is the scene where he first the like cans are getting shot at, and his boss tells him, "Hey, someone's shooting at you," and then he goes, "He hates these cans."
That is. And then he's like running around like, "There's cans in here too."
Yeah.
I wish we could have watched it together, because I get a huge kick out of seeing people laugh. Like,
well, we'll do that sometime.
Nice. Because I'll be honest, like I spent half the movie just looking at Will when he would laugh, because then that would make me feel good.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, do you have anything else you want to say about this movie? Before we move on to the next part.
Yeah, I have a couple of kind of interesting little tidbits.
Ooh, give me those tidbits.
One of the sort of weird things on the DVD is that they actually shot 3 alternate versions of the cat juggling. So it was like different things instead of cat juggling.
Oh.
One was fish teasing, where it was like a guy tapping on the side of a goldfish bowl, and then he would like do a thing where he would pretend he was about to dump fish food in the bowl to trick the fish, and then he like eats sushi in front of the fish. One was plant abusing, where there's a guy who's like calling a plant an asshole and swearing at it. And then the last one was pet dressing, where it was like a guy comes out with a pug, and then like he'll bring out little costumes and be like, "Oh," and then put them on the dog.
Were all of them Martin? Were all of them Steve Martin?
I think so.
Good.
Yeah.
Fish teasing is pretty good. I think probably they made the right choice. Cat juggling was the right way to go.
Yeah. One kind of interesting thing was this movie was Steve Martin's debut as a film star.
Mm-hmm.
Like he'd, I think, been in movies before this, but never as the director was Carl Reiner, who I'm pretty sure is the guy who is doing the Optigrab suit.
Yeah, he's the cross-eyed guy.
Yeah.
Who, that's him.
but he's Rob Reiner's father, and he worked with Martin because Rob Reiner had worked with him.
Rob Reiner.
And I guess had like recommended him. Yeah. Who's also an actor and director.
He's a goof.
Yeah. Let's see. So Reiner said that one of the reasons that they felt that the script was really strong was in part due to the gas shortage that was going on at the time. He and Martin would carpool to work together. So it just like gave them a lot of extra time to work through the script and think out new jokes and stuff. Yeah. The movie was shot in 45 days, which is a really short shooting. And then a last fact, kind of goofy one, is that the dog Shithead apparently the first day that it was brought on set, Martin was wearing like a weird outfit with mittens. And when he went up to the dog to pet him and say hi, he accidentally dropped the mittens and they fell on the dog's face and scared him so bad that for the rest of the shoot, the dog was terrified of Steve Martin. So yeah, they said like it was really hard to shoot all of the scenes with it just because like it was scared of the person who it needed to be acting with.
That's pretty. I can't imagine ever being afraid of Steve Martin.
Yeah, for reals though. Oh man. Oh yeah, okay. So one other thing that I thought was kind of interesting is that there is a director who we've talked about two of his movies, and he really loved this movie. You want to guess who it was?
It's the Blade Runner guy.
Nope.
Oh, we've just talked about
Stanley Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kubrick was a huge fan of the movie and apparently would frequently quote lines from it. And he once invited Steve Martin over to his house so that they could play chess together. Which is kind of cute.
That sounds. Well, I was gonna say yes, it's cute. He did it because he liked the movie, but the idea of playing chess against Stanley Kubrick sounds terrifying. I don't think I would like that.
Yeah.
But hey, to each their own.
I guess I just found the idea that chess is such an integral part of his life that that's what he would invite Steve Martin over to his house to do. It kind of funny, but
it is funny. But all right, is that all the stuff we want to say about The Jerk for now?
Yeah, I guess so.
But I feel safe saying that you would recommend this movie.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I as well. It gets 4 thumbs up here at GGWBP. Just remembering.
Trying to do a bit where I had 4 thumbs, but it was not working.
It's fine. I gave 2, you gave 2, and then you gave Pinky.
There you go.
So, got to remember to tell people whether or not we recommend movies.
Yes.
Or they'll ask on one person will be like, "So should I watch it?" It's like, yes. Watch The Jerk.
Yes, you should watch Little Panda Fighter.
Oh no.
Not really, but it's terrible.
But we all look forward to
But
seeing
you should watch
review.
The Jerk.
Yes. Watch The Jerk. Well, anyway, we're going to move on to the last portion. Something I've been thinking about on and off all week because of the hype that Robert instilled upon me is our biggest...
Man, I feel like you're never going to let me live down my last one.
Oh, man. Our biggest nerd confessions. And I sent out a call on Twitter to the 12 people that follow us. I didn't get any responses, so we'll see what happens. But did you want to start since this is your baby?
Yeah, I can start. I have just a couple really teensy tiny ones.
Will's here. He'll drop some sweet nerd confessions.
So one is just like a movie series that I feel like I should have seen but haven't. Indiana Jones feels weird to me. It's not a huge confession, but I feel like there's some people who go, "You haven't seen Indiana Jones?"
That is it's a pretty seminal film franchise. It's like
Yeah,
the de facto adventure franchise, I would say, to many people.
yeah.
And you should see it, except for the last one. It's bad, but the first three are good. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, I had such a problem with this topic because, to be honest, I don't really hide how dumb and shitty I am about stuff. So, like, I've been very vocal that Will's never seen Back to the Future, which is gross. I don't give a shit about so many big nerd things like Star Trek or Star Wars. Just trying to think of games, because I know one of the things you talked about was like cheating in video games.
Yeah.
I guess this isn't so much a nerd confession, but like a behind the scenes thing, I guess. When I was playing Fallout 4 for the channel, there was a bunch of times where I would need something, like a crafting material, and I was just like, oh my god, I could spend 10 hours finding the 100 bits, or I could just open up the command console and be like, give me 100 of these, please. But that was more to just save time for the stream rather than, like, aha, I'm cheating.
Yeah. Yeah, I had another release that the only way that I have made it through any of the Soulsborne games, which I made a fair amount of the way through Dark Souls 3, and I beat all of Bloodborne, including the DLC. But the only way that I did it was by severely overleveling myself and cheesing as much as possible.
Hey, that I can't even blame you. Those games are definitely about do what you fucking gotta do to get through them.
Yeah.
I've never read Dune.
I think I've been sort of in the process of reading Dune, and then I need to get back to it and finish it. It's pretty okay.
And this is simultaneously doing things. I'm making a confession and plugging future content. Is I have never finished a full game of D&D. I've actually only played actual D&D. Wait, what's true? I've never finished a game of D&D. I've only ever played it like actual D&D. I've played other tabletop games like Pathfinder and Shadowrun, I think was the other one, because I know it wasn't Cyberpunk, but it was another like weird hacking one. But it's something we hope to resolve. Is something we're working on for future streams. Probably for Saturdays, we're going to be streaming D&D, where I will be the DM, at least for the first campaign, and if other people want to do it. So we're just diversifying the channels, so something to look forward to, but that probably won't be until either the end of this year or the very beginning of next year. Yeah. But yeah, D&D's pretty nerdy shit, and it's something I've always wanted to do, but I've never done it, so...
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot on what kind of character I want to make.
I'm very excited. All right.
Okay.
Is this the big one?
No, we're not there yet.
Okay.
I got a couple more to get through first. So, when I was in college, I went back and was like replaying a lot of my old GameCube. And one of the ones that I wanted to try in 100% was Super Mario Sunshine. I was doing really good, and then I got destroyed by one level. One level completely ended my attempt to 100% Super Mario Sunshine. And that level is called Yoshi's Fruit Adventure. And I hate it so much, and it's such a source of shame to me that I could not beat this level. But it's also the most pain in the ass. So did you ever play Super Mario Sunshine?
Yeah, I have, and I've beaten it, but I was borrowing it from a friend, so I didn't take the time to 100% it.
Gotcha.
So I actually... I remember the one being really shit. Will's rubbing it in your face that he beat that level.
Fuck you, Will.
I remember there was like a pinball level that I really hated. Like, I got stuck in that one for a while. But no, I can't picture what Yoshi's Fruit Adventure is.
So this was all Yoshis or just the one on this level. But on this level, there was a Yoshi's egg that would be sitting on a platform, and you would have to get the Yoshi out of it, which made a specific fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this gigantic machine, and it had two different buttons, one over here, and then you could like jump all the way to the other side, and there was a button there. And each time you hit one of those, it would go down, so you'd have to go and hit the other, and it would like poop out a fruit. And you'd have to keep hitting buttons until it pooped out the right fruit. And then you could take that fruit over and feed it to Yoshi, who would come out of the egg. And so you get the Yoshi, and then you'd have to shoot the like flying fish things with the juice that Yoshi could squirt, and they'd turn onto platforms. But the platforms were moving, and they were over the water. And if you missed and Yoshi fell in the water, Yoshi would dissolve, and you would have to start the whole fucking thing all over again. And like, it was such an ordeal. I spent hours trying to beat this level before giving up.
Huh.
And
It sounds like a pain in the ass.
Super Mario Sunshine.
Maybe we'll maybe that'll be a thing we do on the channel sometimes when we live up there. We'll try that 100% Mario Sunshine.
Yeah.
And I'll be there to give emotional and spiritual support. Trying to think. Video games things I'm most ashamed of. I'm a little bummed, but I don't regret it, as I'm sad that in this recent playthrough of Resident Evil 2 that I dropped down from hardcore to standard for the second playthrough. But I will say playing it on standard was so much more fun.
Yeah.
Because some parts of the hardcore...
and it's time you bring up hardcore to someone, they're like, oh, shit, you blinded that?
Yeah.
I guess it's really hard, so...
It is. I love difficulty in video games, so I hate it when like the hardest difficulty is not fun. Like the Modern Warfare series, probably any really modern military shooter. That's always been the poster boy for this is shitty, the higher difficulty you put it on. But yeah, just by the end of Resident Evil 2, I was just like, this high difficulty was not a good idea. Not because it wasn't doable, it was also because I'm streaming it and the perception is that I'm being watched. The hope is that I'm being watched by people, and I don't want to waste their time going like, I got this! Oh, I'm dead and I have to do it again. I always just feel bad that I'm wasting people's time. So for standard, I didn't, and I fucking annihilated that playthrough. Like, I had so much shit left at the end.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I'm trying to think of like big game series that I've never played or that are really popular that I just don't like. I'm not at all embarrassed that I don't give a flying shit about Pokemon. I think that's something that's like a series that I was like, new Pokemon! I'm like, that was my Robert impression. And I'm just like, I don't know, I don't care. But I know certain people like that game. Have you been enjoying it?
I've loved it so far.
That's good. Holy shit. You've never played Mario 64?
That's pretty crazy.
Okay, that's changing on the stream.
Yeah, that's like a legit classic.
Because that was, I think I was thinking, I don't think I've actually ever gotten all of the stars. I may have, but I don't feel like I have. That game honestly still holds up to me.
Yeah.
I played it probably a year or two ago. It was in our last house before we moved here, and I just had the N64, and I was visiting my parents for the holidays. That's what it was. And I pulled out the N64 and played it. And the only real issue was like it's weird controlling the camera with the D-pad, not D-pad, the C buttons. But aside from that, I'm like, wow, this jumping feels really good, and the amount of moves you have is nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, I played it as a kid on the 64, and I didn't beat it. But then when it came out on the DS, I got it, and I 100%ed it on the DS.
Nice. I can also agree with what Will's saying. I honestly don't really care for any of the 2D Mario games. I'm just really not a huge 2D pure platforming kind of guy anyway. Like,
Yeah.
that's why I like Dead Cells is a mix of platforming and combat. I really like it.
Hmm.
But if a game like I just thought of my big I have two more confessions that I'll just can roll into one is games that people that they just can't stop sucking their dicks that I honestly just don't care for that much. The first
Yeah.
one being Undertale. I think I've brought that up on stream where I enjoyed it, but I don't think it's the second coming of video game Christ.
And I mean, I love that game a lot, but I think that's fine. Like,
But more recent than that was a game I was really excited to play, especially because we were working on like a 2D platformer game. To like, let's make one. Was Celeste, which I think has a cool concept, but the writing in it I don't think is very good. Like it tries to be really woke to the point that it's a little cringy. And then just I don't know the jump it got really boring. I got to the end and I was just like, oh, okay, and they're like, now go through and do the B-sides and C-side levels, and I was just like, no. And then everyone was like, if you don't love this game, you're a terrible, horrible monster person. And I'm like, well, okay, I'll be under your bed tonight. Which I would have done regardless because I just like being under beds. But yeah, Celeste is another. I don't try to be like I'm trying to think like a contrarian when it comes to popular things, but there is definitely a level of skepticism that kicks in when a certain group of people get really excited about something that I go, And both Undertale and Celeste was that sort of thing, so that when I got my hands on it, I was like, okay.
yeah.
And then by the end, I was like, oh, okay, I don't get why everyone's just sperminating this as hard as they can. Megalovania is still a cool song, though.
Yeah.
But I hope that Sans is never an actual playable character in Smash Brothers.
That's fine.
But yeah, those I guess those are some that I'm getting off my chest now. Oh, we're losing viewers now. Sorry, everyone.
Oh no. Is it time for me to drop one of my two big ones?
Do you have more than two more?
I have only two left. Two confessions left, but they're my two big ones.
That's fine. Yeah, let's get hit. Let's get.
All right.
Give us your second biggest one.
So the one I'm going to do first is objectively the worst one.
Okay.
But it's also not the one that I feel like you'll understand why I saved the last one for last when we get there. So, this one is that when I was a shitty middle schooler, me and my neighbors would work in conjunction to scam people on RuneScape. Which was pretty shitty. Yeah.
Okay.
We did all sorts of things. My go-to was items in RuneScape. You could like get them transferred onto sheets of paper, so it was like a slip that you could trade at the bank for that item. And there are two different types of swords: the rune swords and the iron swords. And when you got them, the rune swords were pretty valuable. Iron swords were not. And when you had just the paper slips, they looked really similar. So you would offer people really good prices for a rune sword, and then like keep pretending that you accidentally and see if you could trick them into like clicking OK on the iron sword, and people would do that. But yeah, we also would just like trick people into letting us access their accounts and just then drain all the shit out, which is pretty shitty. And I feel bad about having done that.
Well, as long as you apologize to them individually on stream.
I did not. Well,
now,
if they come on stream, I will be more than happy to offer them an apology because I was an asshole for doing that.
I guess if we're talking about assholery, the only thing I can think that I did regularly at a point in time was in GTA 4. I would get onto voice chat and I would pretend to be from a video game magazine.
I remember you doing that.
And I would be like, "Hey guys, I'm trying to get screenshots for an article. Could you help me?" And I would do stuff like, one of my favorite things to do is I'd get people into a helicopter, and then I would just cook a grenade in my hand. And I'd be like, "Hey, I've just been assigned this game. I don't really play these sort of games. So what does this button do?" And then it would just blow up the helicopter that had everyone in it. And kind of the thing that was annoying about that is in GTA 4 was definitely nowhere near as advanced as GTA 5, is that it wasn't really like structured. It was just you would spawn and do your shit. And if you died, you had to go, and if you had a bunch of weapons, you'd have to go find them all again. So that was always the pain in the ass. But I just remember one specific time I said, "Hey," and I managed to get, I believe, because there's like 16 people to a server, is I got everyone in the server to show up in like the Central Park equivalent, because it's like New York City. I said, "Hey, I kind of want to get a picture of everyone." And I got everyone to group up, and I had some people like crouch in front and like pose with your favorite weapons. And then they all did. And then when I was like, "All right, ready, 3, 2," and then when I was saying I was going to take the picture, I pulled out a rocket launcher and shot and hit and killed all of them in one hit. And I went, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry, I hit the wrong button." And I managed to get basically all of them to get together and did it a second time. And then I logged out.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah. I'm really not big into trolling people who aren't my friends, which is a terrible sales pitch for asking people to be my friend in the future. Is that if I'm going to troll someone in a game, I want to be able to see them later and be like, "Hey man, I was just joking around, having fun." But I've definitely had Will get mad at me, and then I had some friends in college who, like, I would play, like, Saints Row 2 with them, and there was a weapon in that called a satchel charge, which was just like a sticky bomb you could detonate. And that game let you put down basically all of the amount you could have to, like, you could put down an infinite amount until the game would crash.
Yeah.
And they weren't like explosives that, like, if you blew up a bunch of them next to each other, they wouldn't always explode together, so you could blow them up repeatedly on top of each other. And I just remember playing with my one friend in college, and I lured him. It's always weird when you say you lure your friend somewhere, into this like tunnel that was on the side of a bridge, and it was very narrow. And I was like, dude, I found this weird NPC, check it out. And he sprinted like around the corner and then came onto the observation deck, which was very narrow. Like, in the game, it was maybe like 4 character units wide and like 1.5 tall, so it was very compact. And he was like, "What's going on?" And as he came around, he saw that I had lined the entire hallway with probably like 50 or 60 of these satchel charges. And we're over chat, and I just hear him as he sprints halfway in. He just goes, "Oh, fuck." And then I just start mashing the explosion button. And since friendly fire is on, you couldn't damage your friend in co-op, but you could ragdoll them. So I just juggled him around the inside of this thing for like probably a good 3 minutes. And then he just, like, before I was even done blowing him up, he just logged out. And then he locked his room, and I was like, "Hey man, are you okay?" And he just wouldn't talk to me for the rest of the day.
Well, you reminded me of one that I need to add to my list.
Oh, man.
Which is that back when me and Will and Evan and Daniel would play Halo all the time, I trolled a lot of people on Halo. The one that I think I did probably the most was in the old Halo games. You could queue up for team modes even if you had too many people for your team.
Oh no, I can already see where this is going.
Yeah, and so we would go into like 4v4s with 5 people, and if I was on the other team, what I would do is shoot the other people on my team, but I would only shoot them once. So it wouldn't proc the thing where they were allowed to kick me. And I would just like keep doing that until they got mad and killed me, and then I would kick. And I remember one game we played where I kicked everyone else on my team.
Nice.
Yep.
That's actually not where I thought you were going to go with this. I thought it was going to be one of those things where I've never gotten to
Where
do it.
did you think I was going to go?
It was going to be a thing where you were just sabotaging your team in terms of just like helping your friends win by like, I'll drive the Warthog, and you just drive them into like where everyone was waiting to murder them, or you're driving off cliffs intentionally in a Warthog.
I mean, I definitely drove some people off of cliffs and Warthogs.
Speaking of Halo, this is a side. Do you think you're going to get the Master Chief Collection when it comes to PC?
I mean, I hadn't planned on it.
Okay.
I would consider it.
Because I know Will's going to get it, and we were going to play it on the stream. So if you get a new computer and you got that, that could be some fun stuff to do.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
Cool. I'm trying to think. Some other stuff, like, all my times I'm thinking about trolling, it's always been trolling friends. Like, I had a heyday of trolling, like, Jaredin and Will, and probably you when we were... Did you have GTA 5? Like, did we play that online together?
I don't think we ever played it online together. I did have it, but, yeah, it didn't work very well on my computer.
Okay. Because I know, like, one of my favorite things I would do, and I'm almost positive I probably did to some strangers and broke my rule of just trolling randos, is, like, you can go in and you can rob convenience stores where you have to go in and then you have to hold your gun at the convenience store person for, like, an amount of time, and then they'll give you money, and then you can run out. And convenience stores in that game, like, in... sort of a bizarre design choice, only have the one entrance. You can only go in and out through the front.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would like to do is when I would like wait outside gas stations that haven't been robbed, and I would wait until like people would go in, and when they would do it, because what you try to do also, if you go in with more people, the timer is shorter, so you get your people to go in a big group, is I would wait, and then I would drive a car into the entrance that was in a way that they couldn't get into the car door, so I would trap them in the convenience store, because the thing that also happens is once you get the money from robbing a convenience store, you automatically get 3 wanted stars. So cops are coming to your location. So I just remember this one time I managed to do it, park the car and get out and leave, and none of them noticed that it happened or who did it. And I'm just standing across the street in game watching. I'm just hearing them yelling like, "There's a fucking car here! What's going on?" And they're like just shooting over the car and killing cops and getting a higher wanted level. And eventually there's just SWAT vans that are slamming into the side of the building to try to get at them. And then eventually so many cars piled up, and I just threw a grenade over there and I killed everyone. And I was just like, yeah, masterminded.
Oh, man, that's pretty good.
Oh, and then another thing in GTA that I did is once, because they added vehicles that have, like, helicopters that have hooks, is I would try to swipe down and I'd pick up people's cars and then just throw them out into the ocean. Ah, man, if you get a good computer, I really want you to get that game, because they've added so much content, and that game goes on sale for, like, $10.
I mean, I haven't.
Oh, awesome. We should just play it again, especially... That'd be good for streams. At least you guys never orchestrated EVE Online betrayals. That's true.
Those are too elaborate.
Those are aggressively evil. Where hundreds of thousands of real-life dollars are just evaporated in a second.
Yeah. Yeah, that feels so shitty, because that's like how some people make their living in really desperate situations. Feel like you're kind of an asshole if you blow that up.
Yeah, but you know, I don't think I've ever done anything like that. I cannot think of any time I've ever gone out of my way to like ruin someone's day or make someone cry or troll someone so hard that they leave the room that I'm in. I don't know. I think one of my few gamer strengths is the ability to just separate me from game time. So if someone's like, "You're a faggot," I'm just like, okay. But all right, so what's the big one?
You ready for it?
Oh, I've been ready. I'm gonna be really disappointed if you tell this to me. I'm just like, Robert, what the fuck? That's nothing. So
I'm so deeply ashamed of this, though.
Oh, okay.
The thing that first got me interested in Star Trek was the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie.
Okay.
I was hoping you'd have a good reaction to that. I talk so much shit on you.
Well, do you mean like you were interested because you liked it, or you saw that movie?
Yeah, because I liked the movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, even Will's like, boo! Oh.
Alright, I hyped it too much.
So I was waiting for you to be like, the thing that got me interested in Star Trek was a porn parody bukkake shoot on whatever. And I was just like, oh! But, I mean...
Well, I'm sorry, I'll let you down.
That's fine. I mean... That's not even really something to really confess. Like, do you still like the first movie, or do you think it is now bad in retrospect?
No, I think it's a bad movie. I think it's a decent action movie, but I think it's a terrible Star Trek movie. But in all fairness, I think most of the Star Trek movies are bad. So
even Wrath of Khan, the old one.
It's been a long time since I watched those ones. Might hold up the like first couple of OG Star Trek movies, and then I've only seen one of the TNG movies. That one I did not think was good. I don't know. I think when they do Star Trek movies, they feel like they have to make them really actiony to get the people in the theaters into it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, the actiony part of Star Trek isn't what I love about it.
Gotcha.
You know, like then the moral like quandary and just like exploration of out there ideas and thoughts about what the future could be like. So when you make the movie into, we're gonna do big cool fight scenes,
Gotcha.
then it doesn't feel like Star Trek.
But all the lens flares felt like Star Trek, right?
I was young then. I didn't know what I was doing.
That's...
Well, I'm sorry I hyped it too much.
That's okay.
I was hoping you guys would be like, you've talked so much shit on J.J. Abrams and he got you into a thing that you love.
It's just a little nugget of like, hey, for all the bad stuff he did, at least he got you into Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's more of a sweet thing than anything else, in my opinion.
Well, there you go.
We're like, the one day you're going to get to meet J. Abrams and you're going to be like, I hate all of what you've done so much. And then he's going to be like, but do you like watching Star Trek? And you're going to be like, damn it, I do. And then he's going to hand you a box that you can't open. And then he's going to run away. And you're going to be like, J. Abrams! All right, that was... Yeah, I don't have any more after that now. That was... Man, that was... I was expecting some, like, dark shit for you to be like... I was expecting something on the line of, like, you know what? I actually hate Star Trek, and I've just been fucking with you for like, whatever. And I've been like, what? That's, like, the level of thing I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Ugh. But this was a good session. I feel a lot. My conscience is eased.
Yeah.
Getting all this stuff off my chest. Will only dropped like one in the. He only said. That
I thought he did a couple.
Well, because he said he hasn't. Oh, he said he hasn't seen Back to the Future, and I forgot he hasn't played Mario 64.
Yeah.
Which is a sin. But, yeah, do we want to start planning for next week?
Yeah.
Because next week will be Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
So we had talked that we're going to do the podcast that week on Friday, correct?
Yes.
All right. So have you been thinking about anything that you'd want to watch?
I always have a list of a couple movies, but if you had something you wanted to do, I think I suggested our movie this week, so I don't want to...
Trying to think. I thought I had one, and I'm trying to remember what it is, because I wasn't sure if we were doing a Thanksgiving one. I was trying to think of like a Thanksgiving movie, and then I realized there's really not that many. Hey Dervik, yeah, you missed it. You missed Evan. Damn it! Why are you calling you everyone but your name today? Robert's big nerd confession.
Yeah.
If you have any nerd confessions you'd like to get off your chest, Dervik, feel free. Only 3 people will ever hear them.
Well, I mean, I can pitch the couple of movie ideas that I thought would be maybe interesting to.
I'm always excited to hear your ideas for movies.
All right. So, one, have you ever heard of a movie called Super?
The movie with Rainn Wilson?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. One, and this one I'm sure you've seen before, but maybe not for a long time. I also haven't seen it in a long time, is The Iron Giant.
The Vin Diesel movie?
What?
The Iron Giant, where he's like, Superman.
That's Vin Diesel?
That's Vin Diesel.
I had no idea.
Dude, oh man. That's like Will's catchphrase, and we've brought that up so many times. Yeah, the Iron Giant is awesome.
Well,
I'd be up for watching The Iron Giant.
Okay. Well, let me pitch my last one just in case.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
You have all of your options. So last one is Martin Scorsese's new movie, The Irishman, is coming to Netflix on Wednesday.
What?
So that
quickly?
would be another option. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I want to watch that. Yeah.
You want to watch The Irishman?
Yeah, that's already coming to Netflix?
Yeah, at least assuming that I read it right. I think it's supposed to come to Netflix on the 27th. The only reason it had a theatrical release at all was so that it would be eligible for rewards. Yeah.
Oh, then yeah, I would definitely want to watch that. I didn't know it was coming to Netflix because that movie has the reviews on that on Metacritic have been nuts.
Yeah, I've heard really good things.
Flight of the Navigator. What is that? Sounds really familiar. Dervik, have you been liking Disney Plus? Has it been worth the value? I've heard very mixed reviews for Disney Plus.
Okay, yes, I have confirmed. The 27th of November is when The Irishman comes to Netflix, which is this Wednesday.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, let's do that.
Awesome.
What? I have to look that up. What Flight of the Navigator is because that name sounds so familiar.
Yeah, I know I've heard of it. It's like it is a. Well, I mean, I assume it's a Disney one because it's on Disney Plus.
That movie looks old as fuck. It's 1986. Huh.
Oh shit, I remember that movie. I had forgotten this thing existed.
I am so positive I've seen this movie.
I remember watching this movie as a kid. I feel like I only have vague remembrance of one like goofy gross out joke, but I definitely remember watching it.
Pee-wee Herman. All right, this is put this on the list. This could be something we watch in the future. Dervik picked one movie before. I'm trying to remember what it was, and we watched it. What? Rope.
It was Rope.
Oh yeah, and
which was a great movie.
Knocked it out of the park on that one. So there we go, Flight of the Navigator. But yeah, if The Irishman's coming out, I definitely want to see that. That one's new and relevant, and I really like Scorsese.
Awesome.
I know we had talked. You had some ideas. Oh, I'm trying to think. Did you have any new ideas for the second half of the podcast before we look at your list for what we've already talked about?
I don't think I had any new ideas this week.
Okay, because I know I brought up best and worst game tutorials.
That was one of the ones that you brought up last time.
What were some of the other ones we had?
So there was my licensed property game jam idea. There was one of your ideas, which was if you had the ability while playing a game to stop and talk to a character as your, what would you want to talk to them about?
Do any of those sound like something you'd want to do for this
Yeah,
week?
I mean, I think any of them would. I think the last I had two others on my list also,
Okay.
which was one was the impertinent game questions topic, where you would pick things where like the answer to why it is that way is just like because game, but like maybe you could like try and figure out some headcanon reasons for why it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So things like why in a zombie apocalypse someone would take the time to stop and write help on the wall.
Gotcha. Is it okay to like
And
Martin?
then my last was just called top threes by category, where you would like pick some categories and pick your top three things in that category. But
Of
I don't know.
anything?
Yeah,
Or
I
related
guess
to
like,
video
the
games?
idea. I mean, you could do it either way.
Like top 3 sandwiches?
Yeah, that would be an option. I mean, like the fun thing about that one is you'd get to like. Obviously, you'd get to think through what your top threes are on the category before saying it on the podcast, but the other person wouldn't know, so you could, maybe catch them off guard. But
I like that one, but that feels like a good end of the year one. That like for the
Okay,
final
yeah,
for the
I
final
agree.
podcast. What was the very first one you said? I got confused by.
the first one I said, the
Uh,
Game Jam.
oh yeah, do you
the
want to do the
Talk
licensed
to
game jam?
characters. Sure.
Okay. And is it okay to like Martin and MCU movies at the same time? What does that mean? Like Martin, or
Yeah, what is Martin? So
like Martin Scorsese?
MCU is Marvel's. Oh, because Martin Scorsese said that thing about how the Marvel movies aren't cinema.
Gotcha. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
I totally think it is. Well, Martin Scorsese, for as good as his movies are, can definitely be wrong sometimes. But yeah, so we'll do The Irishman for Friday, and then our licensed game jam. I'm sure we're gonna make a Pokemon game at some point during the night.
That's entirely possible.
But all right, we got 4 people. Let's see, we got Zero Gravity Theater. He's going. We can pop into him and see what's going on. But yeah, so tomorrow, I'll be starting a new playthrough. I'm going to be playing Hitman 2 in the evening, so I hope people will pop by for that. I'm really excited. That's one of my favorite game series. And I finally
I plan to be here.
Yay. And I finally got all of the DLC for it. And I actually haven't gotten to play 2 at all yet, so I think it's
I don't think I've ever played a Hitman game.
Oh, they're so good.
They do look pretty fun.
And I think it'll be goofy because I want to ask people to be like, hey, how should I kill this guy? And people will be like, hit him with a fish! And then I'll hit him with a fish. But anyway, thanks for everyone who stopped by today.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Yep.